Hello, my loves, and welcome back to BS with Bethany Simcoe. This is your host, Bethany. Today, we're going to be talking about money mindset and my move back to Utah. Before we get into this, there's something I want to bring back from our original episodes of BS with Bethany Simcoe, and that is our 331. Also, sorry if you can hear Ranger panting into the mic right now. He's sitting where he's not supposed to be in the living room, and you're so cute, yes, you are. So, we're going to bring back our 331, three things I did well this week, three things that brought me happiness, that good things that happened to me, and one thing I want to work on. So, three things that I did well this week and I am proud of is when my family said, Beth, do you want to go on like a random little adventure to California this week? I said yes. I wasn't like, oh, like I have work to do or I have other priorities or things, and I had a date I had to cancel on that night. I literally just said yes. I was like, oh, that's time with my family. Heck yeah, I'm going. And I love that spontaneity. So that's one good thing I did this week. Two more. My manager told me to start making a little bit more hair videos so I can have like more hair partnerships. And I feel like I've been making pretty dang good hair videos. If anything, I'm just happy to finally share my hair care routine with you guys because it's been a while. I feel like I've gotten into my groove and I've forgotten to like actually share that. And also, I don't live in the most aesthetic place anymore. So it's like kind of hard to share that content, but that's another thing that I'm proud of is I've continued to share content even if it's not as aesthetic because most of my content is just like talking to camera anyways. Like who really cares what background looks like? I'm going to add a fourth thing that I did good this week because I'm really proud of it. I started a account just for my Amazon finds. So that way I can stay like more focused on personality and lifestyle and things that are more authentic to me on my main account, which is just Bethany Simcoe. But I started Bethany Simcoe Finds, which is like all of my Amazon finds, TikTok shop finds, everything like that. So that's going to be a lot of fun to share those on there. It's already getting great traction. And I'm super proud. So I can continue to have like my income and my authenticity. Now, good things that happened to me. Again, the California trip. We were there like Thursday night. We drove all the way through the night. We were there on Friday and then we came home Saturday night. Sorry, Sunday night. So that was such a good thing that happened to me. I went with my dad, my big sister, and then her two kids. So that was so freaking fun to be able to spend the weekend with them. Two other good things that happened to me this week. I ended up going back to school. I signed up for school, and that's a good thing that happened to me because of the way in which that came around. And we will discuss that a lot in this episode. But I'm literally going back to school in 2 days since I'm recording this. And then another good thing that happened to me this week is I got to reconnect with an old friend of mine. We went camping. It was so fun. And I just love being in nature. It just makes me feel like who I truly am. So that was a huge plus this week. One thing I really want to work on is this, coming up into going back to college and having more of a structured schedule rather than just working for myself. I want to make sure that I maintain moments of joy. So that's camping over the weekend, or that's like being up in the mountains without my phone, or whether that's cold plunging, or just like going outside and tanning with my little sister. Like, I want to make sure I'm unplugged as much as possible and just like really in the moment. So, now we're going to get into the bulk of our episode. So, let me fill you in a little bit on my life. Let me catch up on the timeline. So, I was living in Hawaii up until beginning of April, I think. And then I moved to LA. And then from LA, I moved to Utah. So, I've been in Utah since like May-ish. Right now, as I'm filming this, it is mid-August. So what is that? May, June, July, August, like 4-ish months. So recently I've been going through a strange period of not making as much money as I'm used to. I do content creation full time and it's very lucrative, and I feel like I've been really good at monetizing it. And just really randomly, it started to like drop off around February or March of this year. And that was kind of when I was starting to switch around management. Like I got a management and then they ended up dropping me and then I got a different management. And weirdly enough, it wasn't just the management that changed. It was like overall my income in general changed. Like there wasn't as much incoming. I wasn't doing as much Amazon videos. I was kind of also just more disconnected from selling and like really driving like sales and driving things through Amazon because I was like, I just want to enjoy my time on the beach in Hawaii for the last few months that I have. So just in general, my income kind of started slowing down. And a lot of it was just super weird because I wasn't changing a whole lot about what I was doing. Like I was changing a little bit of what I was doing, but not enough for this insane slowdown that I was seeing. I finished up my time in Hawaii because my lease was ending. And I was like, should I continue to stay in Hawaii or is there a new adventure for me? And I was getting the feeling that there's a new adventure for me. So I decided, let's move to LA. I'm going to be an LA girly. Originally, I was going to move to like Newport or San Diego, but LA was for some reason really on my mind. And then I had a previous roommate of mine that lived with me for like a month in Hawaii be like, hey, like I've got a room in my house if you want to come stay with us for like a month. So it was this super cute house in like the best place in Venice. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, let's freaking go. And it was right in my price range because when I was still living on the island, I was applying for houses and apartments. Well, not houses, but just like apartments and like studios and like 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms in LA because like they were kind of in my usual price range for like my previous income, but nothing was really working out. And I was like, it's fine. I'm going to have that place for a month to go look around and be in person in LA. So I moved to Venice and it was so hard to move off the island. I won't lie. Like it has been so freaking hard switching lifestyles, not being like so connected to like nature and really carefree. And I miss that so much. And I feel like it's only a matter of time before I move back. But for some reason, I'm supposed to be on the mainland right now. And the universe knew that it would take somewhere pretty special for me to move to. And so having that room in that apartment just like kind of magically appear, that was enough for me to be like, okay, you know what? This is working out for me. Let's take the leap. So I moved back to LA when I was prompted because I was like, you know what? This blip in income is just like, it's just a small blip in the universe. I'll be back to making 6 figures in no time, baby. Like, it's fine. It's whatever. I know I'm meant for a lot of money. I know I'm meant for success. I know I'm meant for abundance because, like, I know the work I put into feeling abundant and the journaling and the money work and the self affirmation work and like the self concept work. So, when I moved there, I kept looking for apartments despite the fact that I was not making 3 times the rent. Like, because I didn't want to live with somebody, I wanted to like live on my own and not like have roommates. And everywhere I was applying to, I wasn't making 3 times the rent. And I couldn't like, hey, I couldn't prove that I was making 3 times the rent because I literally was not. And I was like, I don't know what to do, universe. Like, I'm supposed to be here, right? I'm supposed to be living on my own, right? Like, it just, I was doing what I felt was right, but I mean, luckily I found that amazing house. I was there for like just the right amount of time. And before that month was up, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks into me living in LA, I was just laying in bed one night and it was like I was hit with a truck with like a realization of like, what if I just travel? Because instead of spending $3,000 on a literal box to put my stuff in and just like go to the grocery store, wake up, work, like an apartment is just a box if you think about it. I was like, instead of spending $3,000 on that, what if I could not pay rent at all and just use that money to travel? What if I went back home to Utah? Because I know my family would like love for me to come back home and live with them in Utah. For me, though, that was a terrifying thought. I moved out of Utah 3 years ago. I call it escaping. I escaped Utah 3 years ago. I was 19. I moved to Austin, Texas. Best decision of my life. Had the most amazing past 3 years. And to be honest, I'm not ready for that era of my life to be over. For me, like living not abroad, but like living away from home and experiencing cool things and experiencing like luxury and living my best life. And like, I'm not ready for that to just be an era. Like, that is who I am. I'm not ready for people to be like, well, you had your fun, now you're back. Like, oh, that scares me so bad. I'm like, no, 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 no. You don't understand. Like, I'm not supposed to be here in Utah right now. I don't know why I'm here. This is a fluke in the system. Like, moving back was such an identity crisis for me. Moving back to my hometown that I've worked so hard to get away from, worked so hard to outgrow, the house that I literally grew up in. So that was a really hard identity shift for me. But I was like, you know what? If I can just stay there for like a week out of the month and then just go travel Europe and Asia and go see friends and go to Australia and go see where maybe I want to move next, if I want to move like continents or whatever. And that was enough to excite me. So I was like, you know what? I can do this. My dad came down, we loaded up my car, and I drove to Utah and I moved in temporarily, or so I thought. I just kind of like, I still don't know how long I'm here. I literally am just like living literally day by day in Utah, not knowing what my next plan is, not knowing where I'm going to go next, not knowing how long I'm going to be here. And so I mean, I have nothing like holding me in a specific place. So my mind was like, okay, whatever, let's go to Utah, maybe for the summer until it gets cold or whatever. Well, the summer's almost over and I'm still here. So with that dream in mind, let's go back to me moving from LA to Utah. With that dream in mind, I moved back to Utah. For the first little bit, I did travel. I did go explore. I didn't go explore like Europe or Asia or anything on my bucket list, but I was gone enough to justify the decision of me staying in Utah. But the money aspect of things came back. It wasn't getting any better. Like, usually I spend everything on my credit cards. Like, I'll put everything on my credit cards just to get the points, and then I'll pay it off at the end of every month, like super easily. But I distinctly remember a point after the Hawaii trip where I ran the Maui half marathon, and I get home and I look at my credit card bill, and then I look at my bank balance, and I go, I cannot pay that. For the first time in my life since getting like a big girl credit card, I could not pay my credit card balance. I couldn't even pay half of it. And man, I wanted to panic so bad. My brain was like, what do I do? What do I do? Because also, like, I treasure my credit score. Like, it's my baby. And I've talked about money and I've talked about being abundant. And I felt like such a hypocrite. I was like, if I don't pay this off, it's going to ding my credit score. And then, like, I'm going to lose all my credibility for being someone who is educated about credit scores and educated about money and finances and has talked about money manifestation and mindset. I'm like, how am I, someone who has talked about all of these things and like preached them, going to not be able to pay off my credit card? It was embarrassing. I was so embarrassed. Like, I didn't want to tell anybody. I just felt like a hypocrite, to be honest. I was just like really having an identity crisis over this. And it was really hard to not panic. And I know that I should. It's so funny because like your identity around money is everything. And if you feel like you identify with being abundant, then you are abundant. And I was like, I'm supposed to be identifying with being abundant. And I do identify, I swear, with being abundant. How are the numbers in my account so low right now? It was just such a weird moment. And so I then felt this determination because, again, I know the money work that I've done, I know the mindset work that I've done, I know the mental work around success that I've done. And I had to remind myself, somehow this is for my greater good. Even if my brain right now wants to feel embarrassed and ashamed of this and doesn't want to tell anybody about this, I don't have to air my own dirty laundry. I don't have to like air the fact that like, hey, I can't pay my credit card bills. I don't have to air that to anybody. Like, it doesn't need to be something that I am like fully, wholeheartedly speaking about in the moment. But I can also not let it be something that I'm internally ashamed of. I can still accept it and say, hey, that's okay because I'm going to be successful and I'm gonna get what I want. And now I'm at a point where my financial situation hasn't really changed, but my perspective has. And we'll get into that. So I was like, I'm going to be a wildly successful person, even if it doesn't look like it right now. So I knew I just had to keep holding on and keep trusting. But I did keep this from my family for a few months. I thought that, well, they thought that I could just move out at any time, that I was just staying home because I could and because I loved them. And like, yeah, that was true. But at the same time, I couldn't move out if I wanted to. Like, I could probably go get an apartment with friends, but I don't know. That's just like not the journey I'm obsessed with. I kind of would just love to get my own place. Anyways, so I like really don't think I can move out. And like, I was just having this identity crisis again of like, everybody sees me as someone who's rich and successful. And in my mind, I am, but in my bank account, I'm not. So it was just, I was just embarrassed about it because the truth was, I was staying because I couldn't afford rent. And one day I just broke down to my mom and I told her the truth. I felt so bad. I felt like I was freeloading off my parents. I felt so lame for coming home and not being able to support myself. And I felt like if I couldn't afford to support myself, my parents would think twice about letting me stay. I felt like I was going to get a lecture of like, you should be better financially. And I thought that maybe they'd put their foot down and be like, you need to get a real job, not doing social media. And I thought that I would be not like judged, but like they would sit me down and be like, okay, like what's our game plan? Because this is not okay. We have to do something about it. But what I didn't expect was for my mom to defend myself to me. She sat there and overcame all my objections. She told me it was a delight to have me home. She told me I could stay as long as I liked. And she told me that she knows me. She's like, Bethany, I know you. I know your mind. I know who you are. You're going to be successful. You're going to be okay. And if you need to stay here as long as you need to, do it. You're gonna be okay. I trust you. And like that was such a key piece. I felt so untrustworthy. I felt stupid. And these were old like fears coming up of just the belief that I am stupid, that I'm untrustworthy, I'm irresponsible. And hearing her say, I trust you. I know who you are. You're going to be okay. And you can stay with us as long as you want. I was like, wait, I needed to hear that. That was so freaking sweet. She didn't reprimand me and tell me to make smarter financial decisions. She just gave me a hug. And that meant the world to me. So I continue to do my daily money energetic work. My favorite tool is to have a specific notebook, and every day I write down $1,000. So it's like from 1 to 30. I do it like on a monthly basis, but I do it every day. So day one is $1,000 and you write down what you're going to use your $1,000 to spend. Day two, you have $2,000 and you write down what you are going to spend your $2,000 on. 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 30. And then I kind of restart because once you're past 30, it is so hard to find things to spend. And it's getting your brain used to the idea of you having a lot of money. If you're somebody who says, I want a lot of money, but you don't know how you're actually going to spend it, that money's not going to come to you because it doesn't have an outlet to go to. You're not going to be spending it. You're just going to be hoarding it and holding on to it and worrying it's going to leave you. But it just, that process gets you really comfortable spending money. It gets you thinking bigger. It gets you thinking luxury. Would you invest it into a business? Would you buy a bag with it? There's no limit because every day you have just like exponentially more than you had the first day. And day 9,000, what is it? Day 9, when you have $9,000 and you've already done all your business investing, you're like, why not buy like a Chanel bag? I deserve it to be fun. And it's just so cool because that money's already made up. You may as well spend made up money. So that's a really fun one. I did my daily money energetic work. I paid what I could on my bills and I just ignored the rest. I did my best to take a deep breath when I saw those numbers and just reaffirm I am lucky with money. I am smart. I am responsible. I am good. I will always have what I need and I will be okay. So I tried not to let this lack of money seep into my identity anymore. And it's not something to be shameful about because, again, money is literally made up. Numbers are not real. What is real is the way I feel about myself. Then something kind of odd happened a few months ago. I think it was maybe like 2-ish months ago. People in my life kept bringing up pageantry to me, like pageants, like beauty pageants. And I go, excuse me, that's not who I am at all. Like I'm girl boss. I don't know, girl boss. I was like, I'm a social media content creator influencer. I feel like beauty pageants are like a thing of the past. I picture like a 50s girl with like a beehive hairdo being like, world peace. I don't know what. I just like kind of picture people who were like almost like trying too hard and like not girls and were just like insecure. Girl, was I wrong? Girl, was I so wrong? Okay. Pageantry has brought out the best in me. And turns out everything I stand for is at the core and center of pageants. And I'm like, excuse me, this is incredible. Like, this is so much freaking fun. And also, like, so well thought out, so well put together. So, people kept bringing pageantry up to me over and over again to the point where I was like, fine, universe, I get the memo. I'll do a freaking pageant, whatever. I'll just BS a pageant. It won't be a big deal. I mean, obviously, I'm going to give my all to it because everything I do deserves the best of me, but really no pressure. It was totally fine. And I had literally the most fun. I ended up doing like 2 pageants back to back, and I have another third pageant in 2 weeks. And since my last pageant, somebody watching in the audience came up to my mom afterward and was like, your daughter should have won a title tonight. We obviously need to work on her interview. I want to work with her, okay? Because she needs to get her title. We need to get her to Miss Utah. Let's get working. And I said, I'm here for it, girl. I love the fire. I love the spice. So we met together. She helped me refine my platform. She helped me just like figure things out and kind of really hone in on who I am and what I'm doing. And then she brought up, Bethany, I think you should go back to school. And I said, that's really funny. I'm never, ever, ever actually doing that because I don't know if you know this about me, But when I was 18, I dropped out of college. So I got my associate's degree in high school. So I like had my associate's degree by the time I graduated high school at 17. And then fall semester, I went to school and I was studying like business and marketing, and I just like wasn't loving it. I also was already working in social media management, which was the goal. Like that was my ultimate goal. My dream in the whole wide world was to be like a social media influencer, marketing, whatever. I just wanted to earn my full-time income from social media. And I was like, I'm going to school full-time and working full-time, and I have no space for my own branding and my own things. I also owned like a photography business, a clothing brand, and a jewelry brand. And I was like, I'm drowning. I cannot do it all. So I was listening to this podcast by Dean Graziosi, and he's the one who helped me find the courage to drop out of school. Listening to him talking, like hearing the circumstances from which he came, I don't think he even graduated high school. And now he's a multimillionaire, incredible real estate, incredible father, business owner, inspirational speaker. And I was like, that's everything I want to be. And when talking about like dropping out of college, he's like, if traditional education is not for you, it's okay. Who is to say that you can't be someone who's a millionaire that drops out of college? Like, people in your life are probably going to tell you what, like, you want to be the cliche drop out of college millionaire. Do you know how rare that is? And he was the one that said, why not you? Why not you? You can put in the work. You're the only one who can determine if you're going to be that randomly successful college dropout millionaire. And I was like, you know what? I have the work ethic. I'm going to do it. I'm going to drop out. So I did. Then a year later, I ended up moving to Texas, and it was the best decision I've ever made. I was just so hyped about being this millionaire without a college degree. Like I wore that like a badge of honor. I wore the badge of I'm a college dropout as like a badge of honor, literally. And honestly, going back to school felt like giving up. It felt like admitting defeat. So much of what I've been doing recently has been has felt like I'm admitting defeat. Moving back home, going back to school, being back in my hometown, it feels like I'm admitting defeat. And yet somehow I've been really freaking happy the whole time I've been here. And it's so interesting because I have this desire to do everything on my own. I don't want anybody to help me. I want to do it on my own path. And over the past few months, I've had to accept help from my family moving back home. I've had to accept help from pageant coaches who know more than I do. I've had to accept help from a degree. I feel like I have this thing against a degree because I'm like, no, I want to do it on my own. I want to succeed on my own. I don't want a degree to help me or like give me a pass. I want people to respect and admire me because of who I am, not because of a piece of paper. And it's so interesting how much of a mental war I'm having going back to school because I really want to do everything on my own path. And yet, here I am going back to school in 2 days. So, after our meeting, I was still honestly really determined not to go back to school, but she kind of kept pushing the idea of it. And eventually, she offered to help me in a way that made going back to school so freaking easy, like a no brainer. Like, I barely had to do anything to go back and actually make it happen. All I had to do was hop on a meeting and register for my actual classes. Like, she took care of so much of it and was just so helpful and encouraging of like, Bethany, I've seen who you are. I've seen the way you write, the way that you educate yourself, the way you crave knowledge. Go back to school. You're gonna like it more than you think you are. And I was like, you know what? Fine. Fine. I will go back to school. It can't hurt, right? It can't hurt. So, just like pageantry, going back to school literally hit me in the face. So I said, fine, universe, I'll go back to school for whatever reason. It's something I talked to my mom about when I first moved back to Utah. I think this was right after the conversation of me admitting to her that like, hey, I'm not making a lot of money right now and I'm scared. And I broke down in tears and I was like, I don't want to be bulletproof anymore. I think that me moving back to Utah is teaching me how not to be bulletproof anymore, teaching me how to be taken care of, how to admit weakness. And I think that's kind of what all of these lessons right now are teaching me is I don't need to be bulletproof. I can accept help and I can accept these things that come my way, even if it feels like admitting defeat, because it's not. It's helping me in the best way. So something I'm a huge believer of is the path of least resistance. So the universe will guide you in the easiest, most fun, most pleasurable like outlet for you, the most like the path of literal least resistance or the path of your most fun. That's something Abraham Hicks calls it, is the path of your most fun. And I think that's so freaking fun. And it's so true. Like everything I've been doing, I'm like, this is actually so fun. It's coming to me so easily. I didn't beg to go back to school. I didn't fight for it. It just came to me. What I will do is commit to it and work hard at it since it's been brought to me. But same with pageants. It was brought to me and I'm going to give it my best. I'm going to shine because everything I do deserves my best energy. And from there, the universe will show me the easiest and funnest path to getting what I want. And what is it that I want? I want to be, this is what I wrote down, okay? I want to be a billionaire household name, an A-list celebrity, Fortune 500, Forbes 30 under 30, inspirational philanthropist, public speaking, motivational speaking icon. And having a happy, healthy family and a happy, healthy body. Okay, that's where I want to be. That's where I see myself. And everything that's happening right now is leading me to that in ways that I cannot even imagine, in ways that I can't see. Favorite quote right now is maybe the universe said no to what I think I want because it's bringing me what I actually want. I have already set forth the intention of what I want, and I thought that like maybe my hotshot life in LA would give me what I want. I thought I would never do pageants or go back to school, but now I love both of those things. And I'm experiencing so much joy around my family being back here in Utah. Somehow, all of this is leading to exactly what I want. So maybe the universe said no to me continuing to live on the island forever and ever and ever because I needed to leave to actually get what I want. And maybe the universe said no to me like especially with like boys and stuff, like maybe the universe said no to me about that boy because I thought I wanted him, I thought I was obsessed with him. The universe is like, no, you think that he's going to give you what you want, but given all the criteria and all of the things you continually ask me for, the happiness, the peace, the love, the being cherished, this man's not going to give it to you. I know you think you want him, but I have another man lined up for you that is going to give it to you. So back to the money aspect of things. Also, I kind of have to hurry because I do have a date picking me up in 15 minutes. Okay. Anyways, back to the money aspect of things. The universe knew that I would never have moved back to Utah straight from Hawaii. So it had to get me back to the mainland first. It brought me to LA and I was like, okay, like I can settle with LA. It provided the perfect accommodation for my budget and my timeline. I never would have moved to Utah if I couldn't afford an apartment in LA. The only reason I moved out of LA is because I couldn't afford it. The universe knew I would never freaking leave unless it literally forced me out. So I came back home, quote unquote, temporarily. And after like a few months of letting me get used to Utah, the universe introduced me to my next step, pageantry and school. Because there's no way that I would have ever said yes from Hawaii to be like, go back to Utah, start pageants, and go back to school. I never would have said yes to that. But bit by bit, the universe has been kind of like leading me up to this. And those are small parts of a much bigger future that I have yet to see the full potential of. But I'm trusting the path to bring me the bigger picture, and I'm trusting this will lead to my happiest era yet. And see, now I have perspective around money because at first it was like a shameful thing, but then I'm like, oh, now that I think about it, that was just necessary to get me to where I am right now. It has nothing to do with my worth. It was just the fire up my butt, or like, what's the thing? You can catch more flies with honey than vinegar. Well, I wasn't catching the honey. I needed a little vinegar, apparently. I needed a little poke in the butt. So my lack of money had nothing to do with how hard I was working, how smart I was, how good with money I was. I had to be able to not afford living away from home because I had to be home. And this is exactly why. Right now I'm living with the belief that if I'm meant to be somewhere, I will be there. Like if I'm meant to take on a course or learn from something, it will literally show up on my doorstep. It will literally just come to me and beg me to be a part of it. If I need to do something, someone will show up and be like, hey, like, can I do this for you? Or like, hey, have you done this yet? And it'll remind me like, oh, I need to do that task, whether it's signing up for school, paying my taxes, anything, or like itemizing. This happened one time when I was like itemizing my purchases and like my expenses. Like the person that came and helped me with it literally just showed up. And we did it all right there. It was amazing. And it was happened exactly as it needed to happen. Nothing is urgent and I'm getting everything I want. And I was so scared to open up about money until I had this perspective shift. And this perspective shift happened while I was driving back from California this weekend. I was talking to my dad and he was like, so how are you with money? And I was like, honestly, I gotta tell you. And I finally like opened up to him about it. As I was telling him, it clicked. Something hit me. I'm like, wait, this is exactly why. So that I can have these moments with my dad. So I can have these memories. So I can be with my family on these car rides. So I can go back to school while I have the chance. while I have the resources and the opportunity. This has nothing to do with me not being good with money, me not being smart or financially responsible or not being abundant. This is proof of my abundance. This is exactly everything I've wanted. This happiness, this connectedness, this love. I'm like, wait, this is actually everything I've wanted. This is my abundance and has nothing to do with money. So to end, because I really gotta go, the numbers in my bank account mean absolutely nothing about my success. I'm still fed, housed, and loved, and the real measure of my success and happiness is my trust in the universe. So that's kind of everything I journaled about and talked about this perspective shift. So with that being said, I'm so glad that I had this perspective shift and was able to open up about this because I think there's so many of us that have these conflicting thoughts about money and it means so much about us. Like we think it means so much about us. And I've been guilty of that. Not even guilty, but just like I've experienced that fear and that shame of like, I'm supposed to be making way more money than I am. I'm supposed to be successful and inspirational. And then I realized, wait, I literally am. I literally am, anyways, because I believe I am. And I will be my successful billionaire motivational speaker icon, Forbes 30 under 30 list. Like, I will be all of that. And right now, I'm home and enjoying it. And I am abundant and successful and fed and loved and housed. And this is what success looks like to me today. And that's enough. So, I wish you all the best, and I hope you guys give yourselves some grace today and maybe shift your perspective a little bit on money. I hope this has helped you shift some perspective on money and what success and abundance actually looks like. And I'm gonna go get dressed for my date now. So I love you guys, and I will see you when I see you. This has been BS with Bethany Simcoe. Mwah.